Hey class, welcome back to the Office Hours podcast with yours truly, Prof. JC. I'm excited for what we're going to talk about today because I think that this is really important, what we're going to discuss today. Again, this idea of purpose. Here's what I want to give you a chance to do. This is going to be a shorter podcast, and I want to do less talking and have you answer some questions and spend some time doing that versus just listening to me. And here's how this came out. I was just telling the other class that I record a podcast for that I spent some time yesterday out on my kayak. I have found for me that when life is extremely busy and when I'm trying to get to the place that I need to get to, I've found for me that the most important place where I can get recentered and really kind of figure out where my life needs to go. If there's sun and if there's the sun and then there's water, right? So if it's a big lake or like Mission Bay or Coronado Bay or the ocean, even better. These are the places where I go. And so my kayak is a great place for me. I started doing this during COVID in 2020. If you remember, they shut down all the gyms, they shut down all the parks. You couldn't do anything. But the one thing they didn't shut down was the water. And so I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and I got a kayak and I started kayaking. So anyway, I'm out there yesterday and I'm kayaking. And so what I'll do is I'll kayak a little bit and I figured out a way to take a little nap, right? To rest. But then I always bring out a little black book, almost like this one right here. I'm sure that this one's probably been on a kayak with me at some point. And I'll just kind of write. I'll just date it and I'll just write thoughts. And if my mind is uncentered, then I use that time to get recentered. And so yesterday I needed to do that. And I couldn't believe as I started writing. And this is what journaling does. And we'll talk about this in a few weeks too, the importance of journaling. But this is what journaling does. For me, it really untangles all the thoughts that are going on inside my head. And I'm able to get real serious about what I need to get serious about. And so I found myself wrestling a little bit because I was uncentered. And so I had to get recentered, which means I needed to come back to my purpose. Why is it that I do what I do, right? And this is important for you to do the same thing as well, because as life gets busier, and I know all of you are extremely busy right now, as it gets busier, the older you get and the more responsibilities you get and the more that people trust you and entrust you with certain things and money and time and finances and businesses and clients and all this kind of stuff, it will be easy for you to get so driven and get so going that you're going to forget to stop and really look at, why am I doing what I'm doing? That's the question of purpose. That's why we're in this class today. Okay. So I want to give you some questions that I want you to consider. And I did a little bit of this yesterday as I'm trying to think about where I'm going. I did some of this. So I want to give you 6 questions that I want you to reflect on this week. And again, through this, I'm not going to tell you how it all wraps up. You get to figure that out yourself. But through these questions, I think you're going to have a better understanding of your own purpose. Some of you know what your purpose is. Wonderful. Great. These questions might be easier for you to fill out, and this will be an easy assignment. Some of you might need to wrestle with this a little bit, and I encourage you to wrestle with this. I tell this to people all the time. You want to get your purpose down as quick as you can. The most successful people I know, they discovered their purpose early on. They were lucky enough to do that. Now that's a privilege. There's a lot of privilege in that. But they discovered their purpose early on, and they just went after that thing, whatever that thing was. Okay. So here's question number 1. What are you willing to move through pain for? In other words, what are you willing to struggle for? So, and I don't just mean anything. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the larger world out there and the issues that are going on in the world. When you think about something that you'll say, hey, you know what? I'll struggle for that outcome right there. I'll give decades if I have to that outcome right there. I just want you to write that down, whatever that is. And if you have not thought about that, I want you to think about that. What is, when you look at the issues of the world, the problems of the world, whatever it is, what's one thing that you would say that you would struggle with for decades or years, whatever it might be, that you would struggle and go through pain to see a certain outcome? What would that thing be? Okay. So for example, for me, it would be, I deeply care, and I get passionate about, I deeply care about the workplace. People give a third of their lives to going to work every single day. And we have so many crappy bosses out there. And I was just making a list of my own. Just the other day, I was kind of going back to my own career and looking at all the bosses I've had, and like 2 of them stood out among all the ones I've had. I've been lucky to have 2 or 3 that were incredible, but the rest of them were unbelievable to me. Okay. And so for me, that's the thing that I will struggle for. I will go through pain for. I want to make the workplace a better place so that people go in and they're they're able to move into their full and highest potential through the workplace. Okay. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, what did the 10-year-old version of you enjoy doing? What did the 10-year-old version of you enjoy doing? Just think about it. And there's no right or wrong answers to this, but just think about back to when you were 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Those are some of the most honest years in our life. What was it that you really enjoyed to do? Okay. So for me, and I was kind of a nerd, I have to understand this, but for me, I acted like I was a professor. I acted like that's what I did. I enjoyed teaching my fake students and my fake people in my bedroom, right? I mean, that's a little bit of a nerd here, okay? But it worked out. Number 3, the third question I want you to reflect on. What is the one productive, now make this productive, okay? Well, what is the one productive thing that you do that makes you forget about everyone and everything? The thing that you do that's productive, that when you start doing it, you can skip meals, you can forget about the TV, you can turn your phone off and just keep going at it. I just want you to think about that. What is that one thing? Again, something productive. And number 4, if there was one problem in the world that you could solve, what would that problem be? And this is kind of like number 1, but it's a little deeper, okay? I just want you to think about it. If there's one problem, you can just list the problem. You don't have to give me any explanations if you don't want to, but you can just list the problem. What's the problem that keeps you up at night? If there's one problem, you could snap your fingers and you would have it solved. What would that problem be? Okay. Number 5. Now, this one's important, and this is one that I had to do yesterday, and it was really insightful for me to see how this played out. What current relationships and opportunities are supporting you in moving towards your goals and your purpose? That's part 1. And part 2 is what current relationships and opportunities are detracting you from your goals and your purpose? Let me say that one more time. This is a really important question for you to consider. Number 1 is this: what current relationships and opportunities are supporting you moving toward your goals and your purpose, whatever that is? And what current relationships and opportunities are detracting from your goals and from your purpose? That's a tough one right there. That's important for us to, that's important for you to think about, for sure. And then our final question is this. Final question is number 5. If you knew that you're going to die by December of 2024, okay, so that's not this December, that's next December, 2024. So you had like a year and October, November, you had 15 months to live. And you knew that on December 31st, 2024, you were going to die. And that's a really sad thought to think about. Outside of time with family and friends, okay, or hobbies, okay, so don't give me that, okay, I understand that. If you were a multimillionaire and you were going to die, you'd probably just go spend time with family, friends, and do all the fun hobbies you want to do. But outside of any of those, vacations, hobbies, I'm not talking about any of that, okay, I want you to think about work, right? You would have time to do all that. But outside of that, how would you spend your time? How would you spend your time? I just want you to think about that. All of these questions together, I'll just let you figure it out. Hopefully as you're writing, something will come up to you. You know, something will help you on your own journey as you're figuring out your own purpose and kind of where you're going in life. Hey, thanks so much for listening. I look forward to reading your responses, and I appreciate the work that you're doing, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. I hope this is a great week for you. I will see you soon. Take care.